Good morning, everyone. Hello. Oh, we have around 60 plus participants. Good morning, to all of you.
Morning, ma'am.
Some of you, I think, already know me. My name is Sriati Rusmin, and I am one of the senior lecturers in LSPR. It is a great pleasure for me to be the moderator for today's, the 5th session for LSPR Omni, which will be inviting, and I also would like to say welcome to our honorable guest speaker, Mr. Norman Agatep, and also to all Londoners who are participating in this webinar session with our topic, Digital Public Relations. LSPR Omni is LSPR initiative to balance the students' online and offline academic learning in addressing the new normal environment. LSPR Omni is similar to LSPR lecturer exchange program actually. However, due to travel restrictions, we wanted to continue the implementation by making this available online, like what we are doing today. This is a great opportunity for LSPR students to broaden knowledge and gain international perspective of communications, where LSPR Omni enables LSPR students in taking learning beyond borders. So you are very lucky that you can participate in today's sessions. So without further ado, I would like to give a short background about our valuable speakers of today. Mr. Norman Agatep is the President and Managing Director of Grupo Agatep, one of the leading PR companies in Philippines, with over 151 awards. He is also a member of the PR Society of the Philippines, and in 2015, Mr. Norman was appointed as the President of the Internet and Mobile Marketing Association of Philippines. Now I would like to invite, I'm sure all the students are willing to hear a lot of insights and knowledge about digital PR, which is actually, we can say, brings a new game into the field. Therefore, I would like to invite Mr. Norman Agatep to start our sessions today. Mr. Norman Agatep, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Norman Agatep. Thank you so much for being with us. It's a pleasure having you with us here. And now I would like to let you have the screen for our students. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure and my honor to be with you here this morning. Allow me to share my screen so we can begin our discussion shortly.
Sure.
All right, I hope you see my screen now. Again,
it's very
this is
clear.
Norman Agatep. Thank you very much. Very much. Thank you very much. I am with the Public Relations Society of the Philippines, currently its president, and I'm very happy and honored to be with you here for your series of webinars. I've been checking out the other speakers whose faces have been shown before this webinar, and I'm very honored to be amongst all of them who are joining you for this prestigious series of lectures. This morning, I would like to talk about breakthrough digital executions. This is very relevant in our times, especially in our region here in Southeast Asia, because of the amount of digital content that our region consumes on a daily basis. So before I discuss our topic on breakthrough digital PR executions, I'd just like to show you some stats. And many of these stats point to the fact that Southeast Asians are the most hooked on internet. We spend the most number of hours on the internet versus many other parts of the world. If you check out these stats, for example, from We Are Social, you see the daily time spent using the internet here, and that white bar at the center represents the average globally. Now, therefore, all of the countries before the white bar are above the average. And if you check out the stats, the red dots here represent Southeast Asian countries, with Philippines ranking #1 as the spending the most time over the internet at close to 11 hours a day.
How
Malaysia
about
is close
yourself?
by. Yes, I also spend a lot of
I
hours on the
know.
internet. I
Okay.
admittedly, both for business and for pleasure, and I'm sure
Sure.
many of you are the same. You
Yes.
will see that Indonesia is also up there. It's the third dot from the left, red dot from the left, and
It's number
therefore
8.
a lot of, yes, you're spending close to 9 hours a day on the internet. But that's not all. If we check the other stats, we will see that daily time spent using social media is the same. Philippines is ranking #1 up there. Indonesia is close by 2, also above the global average. We have other stats from just last month, just a few days ago. And here's what we see with regard to following influencers on social media. Again, the red dots are Southeast Asia. The yellow dots are our neighbors, Hong Kong and Taiwan. And this clearly indicates that our region, both Southeast and East Asia, are spending a lot of time on social media for different reasons. Sometimes to follow influencers, watching vlogs. Again, we're above the general average globally. Playing video games online. Look at that, the first 4 countries in the world topping the number of hours spent playing video games online: Philippines, Thailand, Indonesia, and Vietnam.
Incredible.
Right. Exactly. So it's even in terms of e-commerce, our region is dominating the globe as far as activities done online. Which brings me to this point. It therefore makes sense that our region should be doing more breakthrough digital PR executions, because we are the ones consuming the most digital content in the world, and we are the ones that are spending the most time on digital space. But actually, if you look at award-giving bodies around the world, we are not as dominant as our Western counterparts. They have won more awards with regard to executions in PR on digital space. But again, I think it is high time that we represent our region more and really develop PR executions that can be very exciting, not only for our region, but also for the rest of the world. So if you will indulge me, my entire presentation this morning is about checking out what the other countries and other regions are doing when it comes to PR on digital space. I have collected here a lot of my favorite PR campaigns that have been executed on digital space, and perhaps we can learn from these examples and use them in our own ways that will benefit our own citizens in this region.
Exactly what we need.
Exactly, right. And these are opportunities for learning. And I have here 7 types of executions that I'll be discussing with you. And we will go through them one by one with a lot of case studies, if you will allow me. So
Sure.
the first type of executions I'd like to show you are using digital technology in a new way, using the new technologies like augmented reality and so on, in order to be able to communicate or to reach out to our many publics, right? My first case study comes from Spain. This is from a group called No Somos Delito, right? And in Spain, they do have a specific PR challenge. The challenge they experience there is that in Spain, in 2015, I believe, the Spanish government created a law that forbids or bans Spanish citizens from expressing themselves on the streets. They cannot protest in front of Congress. They are not allowed to voice out their concerns and congregate in public spaces to raise their voices. So what this group did was to find a way for these people to still voice out their concerns and to express themselves with the aid of digital technology. They're no longer physically on the streets because they're not allowed to, but they can still be able to voice out their concerns with the help of digital technology. Now, hang on, allow me just to make sure that I'm also sharing my computer sound. Hang on. All right, so let me just do this again, share. Okay, so let's take a look at the case study from Spain and how they use technology to still protest without being on the streets. Here we go.
In March of 2015, the Spanish government approves the gag law, despite criticism from the UN and objection from over 80% of the population. According to this new law, a person will not be able to protest in front of Congress, freely organize an assembly in public places, participate in protests without previous notice. In short, a person will lose their right to freedom of expression. Faced with this reality, we decided to protest in the only way the law allowed us to.
To a different kind of demonstration in Spain.
Thousands of people marched to protest a new law
that they say endangers civil liberty.
But none of them were actually there.
Not your typical political rally.
A unique way to express their discontent.
The world's first holographic protest.
Activists in Madrid held a demonstration via hologram.
Hologram tüntetők.
Mivel sa naprád, amiga?
Hologram tüntetést tart.
Manifestation virtuelle à Madrid.
Hologram projection policy.
스페인에서 수천 명의 시위대가 등장했는데
La primera de hologramas del mundo.
Via a website that allowed anyone, anywhere to take their image, convert themselves into an apparition.
Subiendo sus imágenes, subiendo sus gritos, subiendo sus pancartas.
Recreando a miles de personas reales.
And it opens up some doors and capabilities that I never thought were possible.
The underlying argument is that holograms have more rights than humans. I mean, that's kind of another part of the protest, which I have to say is quite impactful.
You can't arrest the hologram, right?
The protest reached a global audience of over 800 million people. 400 million impressions were reached, opening a worldwide debate on the right to freedom of expression. 330,000 people signed the online petition to repeal the law, and the hologram protest went from the doors of the Congress to the inside.
La movilización, señor ministro, continuará, y la protesta continuará.
There is so
amazing.
much there is so much, you're right, amazing. There's so much that digital technology can make us do from our own laptops. And maybe it was even better for the Spaniards to do this via digital technology because they were able to reach so many people around the globe with their project.
Even broader public they can reach.
Exactly, even a broader public. We now go to the US with a different type of technology and with a different program. This is called the Pedestal Project, right? In the US, there are many statues around the US in various states, but these statues only remember, the past of the United States when there was a big division between the whites and the Black Americans, right? So a lot of these statues only recall, therefore, white supremacy during a time in the past when the whites took control of the country and were discriminatory against the blacks, right? So in recent times, many of these statues have been dismantled because they're no longer relevant, right? So what only stands right now in those places where the statues used to be are the pedestals. With the use of digital technology, the Americans were able to find a way to find a purpose for the pedestals that are still standing. Let's take a look at how this project now still talks about equality and justice using digital technology and our mobile phones. Using augmented
The
reality.
United States is home to over 1,800 Confederate statues that are a constant reminder of its racist past.
It becomes very painful when I think of the suffering that my ancestors went through.
As the movement to tear them down intensified, Color of Change, America's largest online racial justice organization, wanted to repurpose the empty pedestals these statues once stood on. Introducing the Pedestal Project, an augmented reality experience on Instagram that lets you place symbols of hope where symbols of hate once stood, all on your phone. Just choose a statue of an activist, place it on an empty pedestal, hear from the activist why change is worth fighting for.
We are involved in a serious social revolution.
And then share it with your network of followers. The Pedestal Project turned each pedestal into thousands of statues that stand against racism and started a movement online.
Called the Pedestal Project. It's an augmented reality term.
Savvy social media
can really clever and quite powerful.
To a celebration of progress.
The Pedestal Project from Color of Change, turning hate into hope.
We want our freedom and we want it now.
There is so much good we can do in the world through PR.
Oh, incredible.
So much good we can do only if we understood the digital technology that we have and we use it through public relations programs that can affect social good in the world. I now go to a second thing that we need to realize with regard to digital PR. If you notice in the last case study, they announced that they had zero media budget for their project, right? Because a lot of the things that we can do on digital can cost less than advertising, for instance. And I have here a few examples to show you also how we can create a lot of impact even with a few cents and dollars. This one is a project that was done in Russia. Russia is an unfairly homophobic country, and they do not want to give recognition to the LGBT community all over the world, right? But it just so happened that one year in Russia, they were holding or staging the World Cup there. And the entire world had their eyes on Russia when they were the hosts of the World Cup. And people who were at the World Cup thought that it might be a great idea, to talk about or to stage a legal and non-violent protest that draws global online attention to their cause of bringing awareness to the LGBT community in a country that shuns that particular community. And they did it with no money, and very simple too. Take a look at what they did.
So it may be illegal in Russia to fly the pride flag. There's a group of soccer fans who found a way right around.
Protested the country's ban on gay propaganda with a hidden rainbow flag.
Activists wore colored soccer jerseys that formed a rainbow.
Sí, una bandera infiltrada, una bandera humana del colectivo de LGBT.
Desfilaram pelas ruas de Moscou durante a Copa, sem serem percebidas.
So red for Spain, orange for Holland, yellow for Brazil, green for Mexico, blue for Argentina, and purple for Colombia.
They got together in the order of the rainbow.
They can't stop you from walking beside one another.
Take pictures at some of the most iconic Russian sites. They pose next to some Russian police officers. They're doing all kinds of stuff.
Pese a su prohibición en Rusia, la bandera del arco iris también se ha visto en Moscú.
To the world's biggest stage, the World Cup.
Champion gay rights, the activist from Spain.
De forma silenciosa, formando un arco iris con las camisetas de los equipos de sus respectivas selecciones.
Hashtag is hidden flag. It's been
Causa furor en las redes sociales.
Images of this group of 6 have gone viral all over the internet.
They call it a hidden flag. The photos have been widely shared online.
Para burlar a repressão ao movimento gay na Rússia durante a Copa do Mundo.
Eu não pensei duas vezes, apesar da represión.
Es algo lindo, es algo importante.
Digo, cuando la gente comparte, cuando la gente retuitea, cuando la gente habla, hay esperanzas.
There is hope indeed. No? Even with little digital technology, only the cameras in our phones, we are able to create a conversation that everybody can be part of. Everybody can take photos of the 6 of the men and women wearing the colored outfits or the colored jerseys and contribute to the conversation that's very relevant across the globe. Here's another very simple case study as well. In South America this time, where football is such a popular sport, and in one of the championship games here, with Brazil versus Argentina, Adidas tried to find a way to spark conversation online with a very simple thing, a very simple post on social media. Remember, South Americans, a lot of them are predominantly Catholic, and Brazil and Argentina are Catholic, predominantly Catholic countries too, right? And we do know globally that, of course, the Pope or the head of the Catholic Church is an Argentinian, right? And a lot of Argentinians on social media were saying, oh, we've got this, we're going to win, the Pope is on our side, how can we lose, right? And the Brazilians were very demoralized, right? Because indeed, the Pope is from Argentina. Right? And so Adidas, who was sponsoring the jerseys of the Brazilian team, tried to find a way with a simple post to talk about this online and to spark conversation and to raise the hopes of Brazilian football fans. So again, Argentina had the Pope. What the Brazilians did, however, knew what they had was the biggest statue in Brazil that represents Christ the Redeemer, Jesus Christ himself. Right? And so what Adidas did was to create a jersey for that statue. And they simply posted this online. And then now the Brazilians were hopeful, saying, now Jesus is on our side. You have the Pope, but we have Christ himself.
Very attention grabbing.
Attention grabbing. It's just one post. And, it sparks a lot of conversation. Not so much money spent. Mm-hmm. Amazing, right? I now go to a third way of, executing PR that can be very impactful, especially with the knowledge that on digital space, we are actually able to activate communities. So if we have, for example, a Twitter page, all of our followers belong to our community. And it's very easy, therefore, because you already have them as followers, to engage them and activate them and make them noisy online to talk about our brands. So that's a gift that the digital space has allowed us to be able to engage communities that we have through our followers on social media. So here's a very simple one. Again, it does not cost so much. All you had to do was to tweet in this case. So KFC said, how do we trigger heightened activity on our Twitter page? How do we activate the people who follow us on Twitter, right? And their digital solution was simple. Often we have a lot of online promos, maybe have games that we put on Twitter or on Facebook. Here they said, let's plant a mystery on our Twitter profile for our followers to discover. This is going to be fun, they said. Let's have a puzzle that they can solve online. And they did not spend much, but the impact was tremendous. Take a watch.
In September 2017, KFC's Twitter handle followed 35,000 accounts, which seemed like a lot. So we unfollowed all of those 35,000 accounts in one fell swoop and refollowed only 11 back. Those accounts? 5 Spice Girls and 6 guys named Herb. Get it? 11 herbs and spices, like my original recipe? Then we waited for people to notice, and 0 people noticed. So we waited, and waited, and we waited some more. Nearly 2 months passed. Then, one guy noticed.
KFC follows 11 people. Those 11 people, 5 Spice Girls and 6 guys named Herb. 11 herbs and spices. I need time to process this.
So he shared it, and some people saw it, and they thought it was funny, so then they shared it, and those people thought it was pretty funny too. And then, things got a little crazy. The guy who found it even got famous for finding it.
Mike Edgett here from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, gained internet fame when he discovered a secret on the KFC's Twitter page.
Before we knew it, we were on the front page of Reddit. Skeptics and conspiracy theorists came from all corners of the internet to argue the validity of the discovery. Of course, we had to reward our intrepid Twitter sleuth with a special gift from the Colonel.
He received, and this is amazing, a Kentucky Fried thank you from Colonel Sanders himself. Look at this. Is this not amazing?
No, stop it.
People like that too. So much so, we were back on the front page of Reddit again. 2 weeks later, everyone was still talking about the old Colonel and his 11 herbs and spices.
It's Herb, not Herb.
Showing up in over 360,000 publications and posts across the globe. All told, our little Twitter joke earned nearly 2.5 billion total impressions. The best part of it all? The entire stunt cost exactly nothing. Well, I mean, we had to pay for the painting, but that's neither here nor there.
Hats off to KFC for having such a good sense of humor.
Now that's finger-licking good.
Think about it. One tweet, one
creative.
tweet. Exactly. You know, it's just a matter of knowing or understanding the tool that you have. In this case, Twitter. Just 240 characters maximum. One tweet. The result: 2.4 billion impressions globally. $0.
Incredible. This is. I mean, everyone can do it. I mean, not only the big ones.
Exactly. We don't have to wait for KFC to do it again. We ourselves, even if we are a small brand, and we are creative in our thinking in using Twitter or even Instagram or whatever social media platform, we can do it too. Here, for Glade and Snapchat. This one, a while ago, Twitter, this time Snapchat. Glade tried to talk with a specific community, and you will see how they were successful by using Snapchat to address this community. Very interesting. Take a look.
Everybody loves to play with Snapchat, thanks to technology that maps your eyes, nose, and mouth. But you don't get to play if your face is covered by a veil. Glade worked with Snapchat to develop a new lens for the women of Saudi Arabia. Meet the world's first selfie lens experience, triggered by the eyes alone. A blink was all it took to bring the new lens to life. They launched on International Women's Day, so all women could express themselves in a way that was respectful of cultural norms. Saudi women embraced this new technology and felt empowered to share. The lens made 16 million impressions. It was used 2.4 million times in just one day. The share rate was more than double for the region, up 64%. Glade sales grew by 49%. Glade believes in the power of self-expression. Their new lens gave the women of Saudi the freedom to express themselves in ways never possible before.
See how we can use social media and digital technology to reach specific communities. It's great that digital can give this power to us. Right? This one is also a very interesting one. I chose this because, as I mentioned in the earlier slides, that Southeast Asia are dominating when it comes to playing games online. So Minecraft, partnering with Reporters Without Borders, came up with this project called the Uncensored Library. In many countries, there's a lot of censorship. Even here in Southeast Asia, in Vietnam, for example, and I will show you some pictures on that, people are being imprisoned because of the articles that they write in newspapers or the books that they publish, censored, right? But on Minecraft, where we are building buildings with blocks through this game, there is a digital library within the game of Minecraft where there is no censorship, where all of these censored articles, pieces, and books can be found, so that people of this new generation who are playing Minecraft can read those books and articles that are previously censored or even currently censored in the markets where these published articles came out, right? So the uncensored library within the Minecraft is available to anybody who plays Minecraft. The censored articles become uncensored books within the game, accessible for everyone, even in the most oppressive countries. In Vietnam, for example, here is one of the, this man was imprisoned for 15 years because of the books he's written, but now his books are available for everybody to read if you belong to the Minecraft community. So again, there is an opportunity to reach specific target audiences or communities through digital space. And there's a lot we can do with digital technology to engage these communities for the good.
So we can say with digital, everything is almost possible.
Everything is most possible. If it cannot be done on physical space, it can be done on virtual space. Right? And we can reach out to the publics in many, many ways, our stakeholders, because of what digital can do. What I also like about digital is that it encourages user-generated content. And you already saw that in some of the examples I've shown, but more so in the next two examples, where we ourselves can contribute to the conversation, right? Because we are content creators too, not only brands. Anybody who is equipped with a mobile phone is already media. And our own social media pages are also forms of publishers, right? It's the platform where we put our thoughts and our photos and so on for everybody to see, right? So let's take a look at what Cheetos has done. You're probably familiar with the snack food, of course. And how much more can we talk about snack foods, right? So what Cheetos did to sustain buzz for their product was to encourage netizens to contribute to the conversation on Cheetos through this very exciting program that won the Grand Prix in Cannes, I think 4 years ago, for Best PR Program. Take a look.
I'm Madison Papel, owner of the Cheetos Abe Lincoln. You can see the two eyes there. And then right there, a little speck, that's where the nose is.
There's a Cheetos museum. I know there is.
There's the little crown, and the torch, In front here, that's where her book would be.
I have Cheetos that look like King Tut, Cheetos dolphin, Cheetos Eiffel Tower.
This is my favorite story of the day. How would you like to make money eating Cheetos?
Did you hear that Cheetos is offering $60,000 to anybody who finds a Cheeto that looks like somebody famous?
Your wacky, weird-shaped Cheeto can now earn you up to $60 grand.
Cheetos is calling on people to upload their pictures of Cheetos that are accidentally shaped like something else. The winner will get $10,000. It's a boot. Yes. It's a Cheeto boot.
A Cheetos museum is giving away thousands of dollars. There is a Cheetos museum.
guy decided that his Cheeto looked exactly like Harambe.
A Cheeto Harambe?
Sold on eBay for nearly $100,000.
The most successful
This is
online.
just unbelievable.
Unbelievable, right? But it's a lot of fun,
How can people think about it?
That's right. No, so the point is, we have to get outside our comfort zone and think out of the box, because again, as you mentioned, there's so much that we can do online to engage the entire world.
Right.
From
It's
our
really
laptops.
bringing to us a total new world.
Yes, a world that we might not experience in physical space, but we can experience through our laptops and mobile phones. And check this out. This is from our neighbors in India, right? And they discovered, of course, that on Instagram, with the when you record your voice, right, and there's a waveform, right, when you record your audio. One of the food delivery services in India created a promo and said that, if you can create a waveform on Instagram that looks like any of our food, you get the food for free. Very interesting promo, and take a look at how it happened in India.
Instagram have come out with the best feature audio messages.
Right, so the big daddy of internet challenges is here.
Which called Swiggy's Voice of Hunger challenge.
Voice of Hunger.
If you can get your waveform on Instagram DM to look like a food item.
This kind of looks like a nacho, right?
1 kebab, 2 kebab, 3 kebab, 4 kebab.
आपको उनको DM करना अगर उनको पसंद आ गया.
To win a year's worth of food vouchers from Swiggy.
Free food tastes better. Very good.
अरे यार, आप लोगों ने देखा क्या #Swiggy Voice of Hunger challenge? ताबड़तोड़ है यार.
There were multiple entries. There were entries on pressure cookers, on whistles, on cats, and so on.
According to the brand, they've been receiving an average of over 50 DMs per minute.
So Swiggy evidently hit 10,000 entries on day one, and I think that soon became 20,000, 30,000, and 150,000. Wow.
Amazing case study.
They take us to their game.
Right. Now, I also mentioned that a lot of us in Southeast Asia are following online influencers. And I think I'd like to show you some interesting case studies as well on influencers. Here is what they're doing in Puerto Rico. In Puerto Rico, they have a problem amongst the youth. A lot of youth are entering a life of crime. Right? So the government of Puerto Rico is trying to find out, how do we influence these youth not to get into drugs or not to get into crimes in the streets. So what they did was to find online influencers that would target the youth and make them respond positively. A very exciting case study, in my opinion, an interesting choice of online influencers. Let's look at this.
Beautiful Puerto Rico, recognized as one of the world's top vacation spots,
But away from the tourist attractions, Puerto Rico was earning a darker recognition. In 2012, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime named Puerto Rico one of the most dangerous islands in the Caribbean. The year 2011 ended with 1,136 murders, 52% of them directly related to drug trafficking. Despite any efforts the government had taken, Puerto Rico's young adults were drawn to the violence and resistant to authority. If the voices of reason couldn't get through to them, what could? The voices of experience. We believe that if Puerto Rico's young people truly understood the brutality of prison life, they'd be less likely to commit violent crimes. So we approached the Puerto Rican government with an idea that had never been tried anywhere. The first campaign led by Twitter that uses real tweets from real inmates as a crime deterrent. Follow to unfollow. We convinced the Puerto Rican authorities to give internet access to 3 inmates so they could set up Twitter accounts and share how miserable prison really is with everyday people on the outside. Within hours, the media picked up on it and the press coverage exploded. Our inmates' Twitter accounts got thousands of followers on the week after the launch, and in only 2 months, they attracted 23% of Puerto Rico's Twitter population.
From your experience, what can be done to prevent delinquency?
Not as much the economics, since there are opportunities if you want them.
If our society is not united as one and puts aside the social and political prejudices, then this will remain the same.
A target-relevant multimedia campaign filled out the delivery of the Follow to Unfollow message across paid, owned, and earned platforms. We launched the campaign with a press conference, and within just a few days, Follow to Unfollow was the main topic of conversation in the news, in tweets, and on blogs, in Puerto Rico and across the world. But most importantly, we leveraged our relationship with top media vendors, and they agreed to donate their advertising inventory and space for the project. With a traditional media investment of $0, we got over $1.1 million in earned media. Ultimately, 54% of Puerto Rico's young adults said they would reconsider their actions to avoid a life of crime.
Sometimes when we think of online influencers, we immediately think celebrities, big stars, movie actors and actresses.
I was expecting that.
Right. But you know, if we are really creative, we can find influencers
and new
who are not as
influencers.
costly. Exactly. New influencers not as costly as a movie star, but also very powerful because of his or her experience. Right? This one I like too. Reporters Without Borders again. You know what? In 2019, this was an interview. I believe it was in 2019. I may be mistaken. Maybe 2017. This journalist in Mexico was being interviewed, and he was being asked, "Are you not afraid for your own life?" No, because in Mexico they have the most number of journalists who have been massacred. And he's a controversial journalist, and he was being asked, "Don't you not fear for your own life?" And he said, "Of course I am, because of my thoughts and the things that I publish. I'm very scared for my life." And in true fashion, he was murdered. This journalist was murdered. But in 2019, this film came up on the internet, and people were shocked because he was alive, right? And he was saying, "I cannot be killed twice. My spirit cannot be murdered again. I am here to tell you that it is important to share our voice to the world so we can be heard." Right? And what the Reporters Without Borders did was to use his previous images in his last interview, and to you're probably aware of the technology. It's a deep fake technology. We see that a lot right now, currently, where we attach a photo of our face, put it to a live being, right? And then suddenly we're moving. Right? So that's what they did. They created a film using his previous images and used his voice to be able to talk to this generation and tell them, "You cannot kill my spirit. You cannot murder me a second time," right? So even if he has been murdered, he is still a relevant influencer to today's generation using digital technology. So again,
we can bring the dead to life again.
Exactly. And they can be used somehow as effective influencers. Exactly. In Lebanon, apparently women cannot talk about their breasts because it's not part of their culture, right? But they've noticed that there are a lot of rising cases of breast cancer. So what they did was to get an influencer, and the influencer is a baker, a regular, ordinary baker, who developed this recipe and used the dough as a way of demonstrating how women in Lebanon can check themselves so that they know if they are potentially have breast cancer or not, right? So without having to speak about breast cancer, this influencer, a baker, is demonstrating how women can empower themselves with information to be able to find out if they may be a candidate for breast cancer or not. Interesting use of influencers online. Right? Last two sets of case studies. Digital allows us information that we can mine, that we can use. And for Snickers, Snickers is a chocolate bar brand that has been promoted for people who are hangry. They're both hungry and angry, right? They know that if people are hungry, they become angry, right? Right. So they try to find a way to get information on the internet to be able to make hungry people happy, right? And this is how they did this. Let's take a look. Let's go straight to the case video to save time. Sorry.
Snickers launched an advertising campaign in Australia in partnership with 7-Eleven that changes the price of the candy bar based on the
mood of the internet. And when anger goes up, Snickers prices go down.
Australia, get angry. Let's get those things down to 20 cents.
Introducing the Hungerithm, a hunger algorithm that linked price to people's real-time moods. As anger went up, prices went down at every 7-Eleven in Australia. Built on a 3,000-word lexicon from MIT, the Hungerithm analyzed over 14,000 social posts a day to determine sentiment. It even understood sarcasm and slang, and not just any slang, Aussie slang. Prices updated 144 times a day, and users simply clicked Get a Snickers on the Hungerithm mobile site to get a 7-Eleven barcode. No downloading apps or printing required. That would have just made them angrier. Each new price had a backstory, whether it was a politician saying something utterly stupid, people losing their minds over a show, or a country breaking up with the entire EU. As prices dropped, fans were alerted via reactive social content.
There has been considerable fluctuation on the Hungerithm lately.
Live in-store displays and more. The Hungerithm turned the price of a candy bar into something people actually wanted to follow. Even Reddit liked it, and they hate everything. By changing its price over 5,000 times in 5 weeks, one of Australia's largest chocolate brands created a massive social media and PR spike. But one stat mattered most, a 67% sales increase. And for the first time, You're Not You When You're Hungry was linked to real-world mood and real-world sales. Snickers Hungerithm. The angrier the internet, the cheaper the Snickers.
And so while the case study says this is an ad campaign, this actually won a lot of PR awards around the world. So again, with the use of data, because we could see on social space when people were angry when it's raining or when they're angry about their politicians, when we monitor those words online, the prices of Snickers bars goes down. One case study more, popsicle elections in Costa Rica, where they're able to monitor who's buying which popsicles in the stores and relate that to the elections. So that data is published online for people to see who's leading in the elections. Take a look.
A partir de mañana son prohibidas la publicación, así como la difusión por cualquier medio de encuestas y sondeos de opinión electorales.
To keep voters informed during the closest election in our country's history, the ice cream shop Los Paleteros launched the Popsicle Elections. Political polls based on ice cream sales. We created 2 popsicles, same flavor, same size, but one with the colors of the Liberal Party and the other one with the colors of the Conservative Party. In real time and through our social media, we publish the results in sales from each store. Since we were the only ones doing polls by then, we were the only ones they were talking about.
Desde que se pusieron a la venta la semana anterior han tenido un gran movimiento. ¿Y quién va ganando en las ventas? El primer día ganó la Chuchi Pack con un 65% sobre un 35% de Restauración Nacional.
Fabricio Alvarado encontró cómo escapar de una comprometida agenda para ir por los helados de paleta del color de su bandera.
So the digital
Sin embargo, pareciera que hay una clave que podrían entender los señores de las encuestas. Deberían vender paletas de helados, porque la única encuesta que sí pegó fue la de los paleteros.
Digital space collects a lot of data, and we can use that data somehow to drive conversation online. Now, my last set of case studies is this. Social space or social media is a great avenue to do social good, right? Because we can rally a lot of people and introduce them to concepts that can make the world a better place for us.
Exactly.
And some are very simple. This case for you and women is happened in Egypt. You know what? Apparently in Egypt, people there are not. It's a cultural taboo to talk about your mother's names in Egypt. You cannot announce your mother's name. It becomes something that is shunned upon. People look at you. You become a joke if you talk about, if you mention your mother's names, right? Take a look at this case study.
It is considered impolite or something.
Not impolite, but it makes them. It's a shameful act.
Okay.
People don't want to do it because it's shameful to mention their mother's name. In Egypt, apparently. Take a look at what you and women did in Egypt using Twitter, again, to be able to rally people to remember their mothers quietly during Mother's Day.
بقولك ايه اسم امك ايه؟
ضروري؟ ليه؟
ما ينفعش اقول، يعني لازم اقول يعني اسم امي. مش فاهم
ليه؟ ايه؟ لازم يعني؟
وفي ناس بتبقى ما بتحبش تقول اسم والدتها خالص.
بنحس ان هو ممكن يبقى عيب او حاجه زي كده يعني. الام وبتاع لا، بس الاب عادي، الام لا شويه بتبقى
لا بس غلط
يعني كده مش عارف اجيبها ازاي.
يعني كان واحد مثلا لو حد عرف اسم ام الواحد يقعد يعيط وهو صغير.
احنا لما باجي نقول مثلا امي فلانه ماشي، واحد بيسمع صاحبي يقوم يقول لك ايه، خد يا ابن فلانه.
يعني يا ابراهيم يا ابن سعاد اكيد هتضايق.
انت اللي تقول عليا كده يا ابني بسيمة عمران، ما تتكلم.
الرجاله في مصر ما بيحبوش يعرفوا الناس اسم امهم وبيتكسفوا يقولوه، لدرجه ان اسم الام بقى مصدر تريقه وهزار تقيل. بمرور الوقت اسم الام اتنسى والناس بقوا يندهوا لها باسم جوزها او اكبر ولادها، يقولوا لها يا ام فلان. النهارده يوم كل واحد فينا عاوز يعمل حاجه حلوه لامه. النهارده عيد الام، قول لها شكرا بهديه صغيره ورجع لها اسمها. غير صوره بروفايلك على تويتر وحط اسم والدتك بدلها، وخلي الدنيا كلها تعرف اسمها، اسم اللي ضحت طول عمرها عشان خاطرك.
منى،
نجاة،
صفاء،
عواطف،
إيمان تيسير هناء
سيد. اسم الأم مش عيب، ولو عاوز تعرف قد إيه اسم والدتك مهم اطلب منها أي حاجة.
So much social good we can do online.
How touching.
How touching. I always am touched. I've seen this case video maybe 100 times, and I'm always moved by it because a very simple act can do so much good on social media. I will go to my last case study, which is something that happens in the border of France and England. There are many refugees who are trying to get into France, right? But sometimes they are caught in the border because their papers are not ready, right? And they have to wait at the border until their lawyers come up with the documents they need to enter France, right? But while they are in that border, they live very dreadful lives. They're not very decent living. And so some people have tried to attract attention and get the world to recognize that these people who are stuck in the border need help. And sometimes the help is very simple. Anyway, so those refugees who are stuck, once they get into France, they now congregate in France and try to help the other refugees who are still stuck, finding ways to get goods to them, finding ways to get clothes or toothbrush or a pan so that they can cook while they're waiting in the border. How did these people do it? They went to Amazon, where all of these products are available. So they would go on Amazon and make product reviews, right? We can all do that. We can just go to Amazon and say, you know what, this water bottle is very important, right? Or this pan, or this a pair of underpants or undershorts. So what these migrants or refugees did when they got into France was to just go online, go to Amazon and make product reviews. This water bottle, hot water bottle, will be used, is very important and can save a life. You can see the bottom left. Hot water bottle can save a life. You know, and then they would encourage people to therefore buy the product and to send it as a gift. Buy a product, send it as a gift, send it to the organization. Organization will bring it to the border of France so that people who are living dreadful lives, waiting for their proper documents to enter France, will have that water bottle, will have the pots or pans, will have the clothes that they need. And again, not so much money spent. All you did was to make a product review online and help people who need the help. So I bring us back to this final slide again, where I said that there's so much we can do online to reach out to stakeholders in different capacities, to different social media platforms, using different types of digital technology. Getting the help of influencers online, encouraging communities to create or generate their own content, right? And to reach out to these communities even with a very little budget to create social good through PR done on the digital space. I've shown you a lot of examples from many countries outside Southeast Asia. But I think this is our opportunity, knowing what we know, that we spend so much time on digital space, that we have the power using the technologies and platforms available to us to reach out to our own stakeholders in our region of the world through PR on digital. And I'm looking forward to that time when we will have more case studies than our counterparts around the globe. Even in the Western world, I will be so excited to see case studies from Indonesia or even my own country in the Philippines, where it is evident that we are using our tools and resources to do good, PR good, digitally. That's where I end my presentation. I don't know if we have time for questions, but I would be glad to entertain any questions if we do have them.
Thank you so much, Mr. Norman Agatep. Very inspiring presentations, actually things that we never thought before. You show us here in your presentations. So it it makes me think that the digital PR actually is a practice to improve our quality of work in public relations, right?
Yes.
It has changed the game a whole lot better, even if we know how to deal or how to make use of the platforms in digital media. And it also enable people to participate, and us as a PR practitioner, we can inform in a more intelligent way to our publics and to our stakeholders. This is a great presentation. Thank you so much for bringing all the examples and case studies. So now I'm sure maybe some of the participants, we have like almost 80 participants right now. So this is showing a good attention. So is there anyone want to raise any questions to Mr. Norman? Please raise your hands virtually if you want to ask any question. So Aliska Ziara. Oh, she is from my class. Go ahead, Aliska. What question do you want to ask Mr. Norman?
Okay. Hi, Mr. Norman Agatep and Ma'am Sri. I'm Aliska Chiara. I'm a junior in LSPR Communication and Business Institute. So I have a question, more like I want to know your opinion about digital PR that has been done by a controversial way to promoting something or a brand. So it's actually happened a lot of time in Indonesia, mainly because our public really likes drama. So sometimes a brand, they produce like a video, or like they hire like a public figure to public figure. They are growing each other on social media. They are getting a lot of attention, and they make a lot of drama, and they actually getting a lot of causing a lot of argument by the publics. There's a lot of pro and cons from the publics, and yeah, they make a lot of drama, but by the end of the day, they actually promoting something. They actually promoting a brand. So even though this is a campaign, this is a PR campaign, grabbing a lot of attention from the public, do you think it is a smart digital PR, or the other way? That's my question.
That's a great question, Aliska. And you know what? The Filipinos are like you. A lot of my Indonesian friends tell me that you believe that you like a lot of drama, and that I also say that we also like a lot of drama. No? It's something, I guess, that's very much a part of our culture here in Southeast Asia. But my point is this. I believe very strongly, let me correct that. I do not believe so much in gimmicks for gimmicks' sake. You know? I hope you understand what I mean. That we're only creating gimmicks just to create, to grab attention. Or sometimes I do not like it when our gimmicks intentionally or unintentionally put out fake news. No, stage drama, for example, that's not real. For me, dramas that are not real but are only staged to grab attention, I'm not a fan of that specifically, right? If there are ways to create drama that are truthful, arguments that are valid and ought to be put out on social media, that's fine. No? But if we stage, for example, a fake situation that causes concern among people unnecessarily, I'm not much of a fan of that. Other practitioners might not have the same opinions as mine, but I'm very cautious about creating drama unnecessarily, and in the process putting out their fake or inauthentic, maybe that's a better word, inauthentic news or drama is not something that I would espouse, or something I would not recommend. Right? But certainly, if we can create the hype without being inauthentic, by still being true to ourselves, bringing forward an honest argument that might be controversial, but is true and is relevant to our generation, then we can do that, in my opinion.
Thank you, Mr. Norman. And I think also in PR, it is very important for us to engage our audience. And I don't think drama is the best way to do it, because we want to encourage, or yes, we want to encourage meaningful conversation with our audience. So like things that you have shown before in related to Mother's Day. I mean that is incredible. I mean it engages people right away, those who affected by the situation or by the issue, and they show us how to change that, how to change something that can make that can lead to something even better, you know. So things like that. So it's really depend if the drama can engage people in such a meaningful ways. Maybe it's a good idea, but if it is just for grabbing attention, I don't think it will. We can call it you know, very creative PR. I mean, you can just bring out something out there, but people will not, you know, touch or engage with the conversation.
Yes, you and I agree on that. I agree totally with you. No? So
Yes.
no gimmicks, no drama. Be authentic, meaningful, and relevant.
Right. Thank you, Aliska, for the question, and I hope it answered the explanation answered your questions. So we would like to invite other students. If anyone has any other questions, please just raise your hands. I think you should use this opportunity to ask any question. I mean, or if you have anything to share, something or other case study that you might think that valuable to think to the rest of the participants, go ahead. Anyone? I don't see hands raised. So panitia, no more questions for the participants. How many more time do we have for these sessions?
I think if we don't have any questions, we can finish the session for today.
Okay, right, because the time is also now, we only have like 2 more minutes actually, Mr. Norman. So this is great. I mean we are very much on time doing this presentation, and once again I thank you so much for all the case studies that you have shown us. This is for myself, it's opening even wider perspective about how creative that we can use social media or digital PR in, you know, in communicating our issues, in engaging our audience, and in a more creative and intelligent ways. I mean, things that I have never thought before, like those hologram and digital, you know, digital demonstration. It's something that out of my imagination actually. So once again, thank you so much for being with us today. You have bring a lot of inspirations and motivation for myself and also all the students. We look forward to see you again in our next session probably. And thank you so much also for all participants for joining us today, and we look forward to see you again next time. Thank you so much, Mr. Norman. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much too.
And I'll see you soon. Stay healthy, stay inspiring people, and hope to see you again.
Thank you,
very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
so much,
Mr. Norman.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm sorry, maybe before we end our session today, we could take a picture together.
Yes,
Okay,
let's do
sure.
that.
Okay.
Sure.
Hang on, let me stop sharing so that we can.
Yes, that would be good. Thank you, Mr. Norman.
For
So-
all the students or participants, please kindly turn on your camera. So I will take the screenshot. We have 3 slides.
Yes,
So
please give your best pose.
smile. Yes. Please bear with smiling because we have 3 slides. Okay, the first slide first. Please give your best smile. 1, 2, and 3. Smile, please. Okay. Second slide. 1, 2, and 3. Smile, please. Okay. The last one. 1, 2, and 3. Smile. Okay. Thank you so much for Ms. Riyati, Mr. Norman, and all the respective participants. Hope to see you in the other sessions or other events. Thank you so much and have a nice day ahead.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Thank you, Miss. Thank you. Thank you, sir.